Hello and welcome to this episode where we are going to be looking at resilience. So, this episode is just with my good self, Susi McWilliam. But today I wanted us to really have a look at resilience and what that means to you. It is certainly something I get asked a lot from corporate clients to cover this subject. And when I used to work within schools and with education, it's something that comes up there. They really, really, really want people to foster and develop this sense of resilience. So I thought it would be the ideal time to come on and chat through resilience. And given the past 2 years that we've had, we will all have experienced the need to foster resilience and bounce back from challenges. So to me, that really is what resilience is, that ability to bounce back from challenge, to not give up, to keep trying, to keep going. It's that relentlessness. And I guess it's just, not stopping because the going gets tough. So having that ability to bounce back from challenging situations and to accept what's going on in our lives, to not get stuck, to allow ourselves to move forward through periods of change. And within this podcast, I really want to cover, attributes, I guess, of a resilient person. But if you're listening to those as we go through them and think, wow, Susi, that is so not me. Yeah, I want you to think of resilience like a muscle. So it's something that we can grow, it's something that we can develop. And after speaking about the attributes of a resilient person, I'm going to take you through some ideas and I'm going to keep this podcast relatively short. The podcast with myself, I want them just to really kind of hit the nail on the head, give you some super valuable advice of things that you can either are thought provoking or that you can carry forward into your days, just little reminders. Sometimes we know these things, but we're not practicing them. So I'm going to give you some ideas how to foster resilience yourself. So how you can build that resilient muscle. So I really hope that this particular episode, whether you're watching video, listening to podcast, is really, really supportive for you. So to begin with, I want you to think about a person that you know who is resilient or who you would describe as resilient. And just thinking about that person, thinking about who pops into mind, what have they been through? Okay, so thinking about someone who has overcome many challenges, yet they bounce back, they keep going. There's always that one person you think, I have no idea how he or she does it. Like, seriously, I would be on my knees, yet they still keep going. And I would class myself as having quite a strong, resilient muscle. And if anyone's read my book, I know many people resonate with that as well, the aspects of things that I've experienced in my own life. But we all experience challenges, and it's how we can move forward from that, how we can teach our children as well, whether you have your own children or, nephews, nieces, all of those kind of things. But how can we be that example? How can we allow our children to grow into more resilient adults, teens? Because in the world we live in, resilience is necessary. There was mental health is on the increase, mental health issues, should I say. So, we really, really do want to foster this. So I want you to think about someone that's resilient, just having a little, okay, what have they been through? How did they overcome it? And because this is such a hot topic, there's like loads and loads of studies being done with regards to what type of skill sets people possess or what they need, what's been identified as supporting resilience. And I know within industry, as I mentioned, corporate clients and things that I work with, this is a really hot topic as well because there's so much change in the world, and we need to be able to keep bouncing back from these challenges in a way that is healthy, that is supportive, not in a way that's kind of going to tear us down and destroy us. Yeah. So we want to come back feeling strong. Yeah. Come like that comeback. The comeback's better than the setback and all that. So I'm going to touch on some of the things that are identified through studies. And then I'm going to touch on my kind of 5 ways that I would recommend, easy, simple ways to build resilience. So from all these studies, I've listed kind of 5 key things that I've pulled from various ones, but tend to appear as, within many studies. So the first one is awareness. So really having that awareness mentally, emotionally, physically, what is going on for you? Okay, so really having that awareness. And how does that come? It comes through things such as self-reflection, checking in with yourself, not just plowing on through with things, stopping, being really, really aware of yourself and how you are, how you're feeling, all of those things. The next one that comes up quite frequently is control. And what it means by that is not kind of trying to control the situation, but recognizing you have a choice. So again, it's that sense of self-empowerment. So being in control, not blaming others, but really taking ownership in a situation. So that's what it means by control, not trying to control and organize and tell everyone what to do, but that self-control, that self-empowerment of recognizing, okay, I have a choice here, how I react. I have a choice of outcomes here. It's that ability, as we said, to bounce back, to not get stuck in cycles. So choice is a really important one. So control, recognizing that you have a choice in a situation is really, really important. Next up, problem solving ability. So with challenge and with change can often come problems, or what we can sometimes identify as problems, but actually it's just figuring out a different way. So figuring out a different way of being, our ability to almost step back and take this bird's eye view of a situation so that you can look in and see things a bit differently. So you're not being so consumed by the problem, like being in the problem. You can almost remove yourself from that situation. So you're taking that bird's eye view in. Okay, what are my options here? Going back to the control. Okay, I have a choice. Having the awareness. Okay, I'm not feeling particularly great. I'm going to have to do something about this. I'm going to have to take some kind of action. So problem solving ability is really, really, really important when it comes to resilience. And we can develop that from childhood. It's that not giving up. Yeah, whether it be building something out of Lego, whether it be yourself just doing a crossword, or one of my clients has just taken up crochet again, not giving up when things become challenging, like figuring it out, like, okay, this maybe isn't working for me. How can I switch this up a bit? Number 4 is coping mechanisms. So those who have kind of been identified as having these, skill sets that support them in being resilient have coping mechanisms. So they maybe do things like meditation, they look after their health and well-being, they maybe have a great support system around them. So it's making sure that you have all these things in your toolkit that you can turn to when the going gets tough, because it's life and things will come up and the going will get tough. So I want you just to think about, okay, what support mechanisms can I put in place? What coping mechanisms do I have now? Do I have community around me? Do I have good friends and relationships? If you don't, then maybe it's worth seeking out like-minded people or people who are going through similar challenges, but who are also trying to make changes. Maybe it's looking after your mental and emotional health. Okay, what things could I have in place? Okay, maybe go for a daily walk. That it's these really simple things that will make a huge difference to your ability to cope with change and problems and, these opportunities where we need to tap into our resilience. And number 5 is competence. And what it means by this is just simply knowing that you can handle stressful situations. So right now, I want you to think about a stressful situation that you have experienced. It can be absolutely anything. It could even be pandemic related, could be past related. And I want you to think about that situation and how you overcame it. Because when we're in the thick of situations, we often think, I'm never going to get through this. And I guarantee you will, you can. We just need to figure it out. So the competence is knowing that you can handle stressful situations. So if you have done in the past, then woohoo, like you have that competence. You've learned through that past experience. And that is how you begin to foster resilience. Okay, I'm going to give you my 5 steps now as to how to build your own resilience muscle. And you maybe picked up on some from what I just mentioned, the ones that have come out of studies. But my number 1 is to find encouragers. Okay, find the support. It's really easy when we are in a challenging situation to get dragged down by other people maybe in the same situation, like, oh my gosh, it's so bad. How are we ever going to manage? All of those things. You need to be around the encouragers. You need to be around the people who have overcome things, who are doing it, who are not getting stuck, who are solving the problems. Like, even whether that is, if you don't have those people around you, listening to a podcast by someone inspiring, reading a book about someone who has overcome like really challenging situations, that can allow you to find the encouragers, find the support, or connect, as I said earlier, with community. Community is something that comes out of a lot of studies around resilience as well. So connect with people. Second one, journaling. I am a journaling junkie through and through every single day. But the journaling really allows you that processing of emotions. It allows you to identify any things that are recurring problems, things like that, and gives you an opportunity to kind of challenge those, identify them. It comes back to that number 1 earlier that I said about awareness. So as you're journaling, you will begin to have more awareness of how you are mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually. You will have a better understanding of how a situation is affecting you. So tapping into journaling is a great way to explore and build your resilience. Also great to look back on. We tend to journal, most people tend to grab their journal, a bit like when you had diaried when you were younger, when things are challenging, like, oh my gosh, writing in your journal. And it's a great thing to go back and flick through, and you can see your resilience, see the things that you have overcome. Number 3, optimism and faith. So having that attitude, having the faith, even if you can't figuring it out, like can't figure out the solution right now, having faith that the solution is there, that with each day, there's an opportunity for change to occur, positive change. So being optimistic around the situation instead of getting consumed by the negativity of the problem or the challenge, looking at the optimistic outlook on things. 4, find a sense of purpose. So this is really going to drive you through those challenging times and out the other side and beyond. So if you have a sense of purpose, if you have a why must you overcome this situation? Why must you figure it out? Really connect with your purpose. really dive deep and think, okay, I really have to overcome this because of X, Y, and Z. Having that sense of purpose, or even, being connected to a bigger purpose. This has also come out through studies as well. Having connection to something greater than yourself will also drive you to be less consumed on your own challenges and more focused on the greater cause. Okay. So whether this is your own big why, or it is a why related around something else you're doing. Number 5, build wellness. So having a little look at emotional, mental, physical, spiritual health. Build your sense of wellness, whether that is through meditation, through yoga, through the journaling I mentioned, through exercise, through eating well. Any way you can support yourself mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually will reward you tenfold and beyond when it comes to being resilient. So really think about your wellness, not just as in being healthy, but all the other things that it offers. I know for me, if I'm eating better, if I'm focused on my wellness, I feel clearer, I feel happier, I can figure out problems, life isn't so challenging. So have a little think about that. If you are going through a challenging time right now, okay, how can I dial up my wellness? How can I get more sleep? How can I drink more water? How can I eat better? Investing in yourself never, ever, ever is a mistake. Yeah. So have a little look at that. So hopefully that will give you some tips with regards to, kind of what resilience is, the attributes that people have who are super resilient, and also ways you can develop that yourself. I've got a great little book that I picked up in the works. I love books. And it's called Resilience by Josh Floyd. If you're watching me, you can see it on camera just now. And it's a super little book just to kind of dive into, give you a bit of motivation. So if you are struggling, grab a book, look into people who've overcome things, see if there's things that you can kind of do to support yourself. I'm just going to open this and see if I can find this full of little quotes and things. And awesome. The page I've opened to, the quote is by Thich Nhat Hanh, who, if you have followed me for any length of time, you'll know it's someone that I really, really admire. And the quote is, "If we believe that tomorrow will be better, we can bear a hardship today." Awesome. So I'm going to leave you with that thought. If we believe that tomorrow will be better, we can bear a hardship today. And that's by Thich Nhat Hanh. So I hope that supports you today. Please reach out with any questions that you might have around this topic. Feel free to dive into any of the free content I have on YouTube or on my page as well with regards to building wellness. If you love journaling, I have so much, goodies in and around journaling on my Pinterest board. On YouTube, I have a journaling session there. I journal every month with my community members in the Spirit and Soul membership. And that's something that certainly a lot of them commented on, having that self-awareness. So yeah, absolutely. So I am wishing you the most incredible day. Please reach out if there's anything at all. And I can't wait to speak to you on the next podcast.